In 1932, in Mississippi, a boy named Sammy came to a church badly injured. Everyone is horrified seeing his condition. His father, who is also the preacher, starts to pray for him and asks him to put down the broken guitar and beg for salvation. 24 hours earlier, two gangster brothers, Smoke and Stack, were waiting for someone. A racist man named Hogwood comes there. They are buying an old mill from him to turn it into a juke joint for the Blake community. They also warn the man that they don't want to see any of their clan members interrupting their business. But Hogwood says that he wants peace and no clans exist anymore. Sammy is a cotton picker and an aspiring musician. He seems to have lost his guitar, but later, when he goes there, his father seems to have it. His father disapproves of his singing as he wants him to become a preacher. Smoke and Stack come there to pick him up as they want their cousin to play at their new juke joint. Before leaving, his father warns him that if he starts playing for the devil, he will follow him home. The three of them leave together. They arrive at the place where their truck is hidden. They decided to split up to arrange all the supplies. Smoke takes the truck to the market, while Stack leaves with Sammy. Smoke arrives at the market. He pays a little girl to watch over his truck. He then meets with his old friend Bo and asks for supplies to open there in the juke joint. Suddenly, he hears his truck horn and finds two men stealing from him. He shoots them to teach a lesson. He then comes back and tells Bo that they also need his wife to make a sign for them. Grace comes there and negotiates the price and settles on helping him with the joint. On their way, Sammy asks Stack about Chicago, but he says that it's the same everywhere. He then asks Sammy to play something, which he does, and it blows his mind. They soon arrive at the train station to recruit a musician named Delta Slim. He refuses at first, but Stack offers him 500 bottles of Irish beer, which makes him say yes. They are all indulging in a music session when Sammy notices a white woman looking at them and tells Stack about it. The woman approaches, and Sammy leaves from there. She is Mary, Stack's former lover, but she is pissed off after both the twins abandoned her after her mother passed away. But Stack wants nothing to do with her, so he asks her to leave, which she does. Sammy approaches a woman named Perline, who is looking at her. They chat for a bit when Sammy says he will see her at the juke joint and takes a leave. On their way back, they meet his old friend, Cornbread, and offer him to be the guard for the night. Smoke arrives at her old lover's house and puts some flowers on their infant daughter's grave. Her lover, Annie, believes in hoodoo practice and sells them. But Smoke does not believe this despite Annie saying her magic kept them alive for all those years. But he argues it didn't save their infant daughter. Annie asks to see his locket, which she gave him, and does some voodoo magic on it. Smoke invites her to join their juke joint. After making love with her, they all arrive at the juke joint to prepare it for the night. A man burned by the sun comes to a cottage. The owners open the door, pointing a gun. He says his name is Remick, and he's been robbed, and some men are coming for him. He offers the money for their help. Two Native Americans come searching for him. The woman refuses to let anyone take shelter at their home, but they warn her that if she has given refuge to the man, then they are in huge danger. But the woman won't budge and asks them to leave. They see the sun setting, so they decided to leave. The woman then calls her husband and goes to check. She finds him lying on the floor, bleeding, and the man who has turned into a vampire. Soon, he turns into a vampire as the woman screams. On the opening night, guests are coming in large numbers. Mary also comes there, but Cornbread does not let her in. He soon recognizes her and lets her enter. Sammy approaches her, and she recognizes him. They have a conversation, and Sammy reveals how grateful he is for the twins. Smoke comes there and takes Sammy from there. He asks Steak to take care of her. Steak approaches her and offers her money, but she refuses to leave. Slim, who is playing piano, asks Sammy to join him. Together, they sing so powerfully that he unknowingly summons spirits of the past and the future. They groove to the rhythm, and everyone joins in with their music. The music fires up the place, and it attracts Remick and the newly turned vampire couple. They approach the juke joint and seeing them. Cornbread asks an acquaintance to call the twin. Twins are accounting for how much they can make, and it's not enough, and at this rate, they will be out of business in 2 months. Remick and others ask if they can come in as they heard their music and would like to join. Twins and others also come see them. They introduce themselves and tell Sammy that they love his song. They're also musicians and start to sing a song. But Smoke puts a stop to it and asks them to leave. They even offer them money, but Smoke is not interested and shows his gun, so they slowly leave. The party again starts when Sammy talks about his ambition to Smoke, that he plans to go to Chicago and be a musician there. But Smoke says it's a bad idea, as all the places have racism in some form or other. They get into an argument, and Sammy says that he will live his dream no matter what. Mary tells Stack that she should approach the white guys and find out what they want. And if they have good intentions, they can also let the group in as they want to make some money. Remick and others are singing when Mary approaches them. After the song ends, she sits beside them trying to find out their true intention. They show her the gold coins that he is ready to offer them. He even tells her that she can keep it. Remick says that she needs companionship and friendship. That's why he has come there, because someone close to him has recently died and they can bring the disease back. His demeanor starts to change. He starts to drool and his eyes change. Afraid, Mary takes out his gun and asks them to stay away. As she is about to leave, Remick jumps towards her. Mary comes to the door and asks Cornbread to let her in. Cornbread is surprised as to why she is asking, but does not think much of it. She then goes to Stack and starts to seduce him. They get inside a room, and while making out, Mary starts to drool like a dog, but Stack does not say much about it. Cornbread asks Slim to guard the door while he goes to freshen up. He goes to pee, but something from the bushes attacks him. Bo calls Stack as a fight has erupted at the bar. He goes and takes down the perpetrator, and the men beat him up. He then asks Sammy to bring Stack. He goes to call him and finds him in a compromised position. He then goes back to Smoke and tells him he can't, so Smoke goes with him. When he opens the door, he finds that Mary is biting Stack. Shocked, he just blindly shoots at her, but she gets up unharmed and says that they're going to kill all of them and runs away from there. Others come and see that Stack is dying. Slim tells others to leave them. Bo and Grace clear the crowd as they all leave from there. Annie also asks Bo to take out the car as they also need to leave. Stack dies in the Smoke's arms. Sammy starts to blame himself while Smoke mourns his brother. Annie asks what happened, and after hearing the situation, she tells him they must throw his body outside. But Smoke doesn't agree, and they decide to lock him up. While waiting outside, Cornbread comes there. They wonder why he took so long and inform him of the whole situation. He asks them to let him in, but Annie asks about why he needs permission to enter and why can't he simply barge in. She then tells him to admit that he is dead and has now become a Hain. But he laughs it off, saying that it's all bullshit. When everybody declines to let him enter, he asks for his money. As Smoke is about to give him the amount, he attacks him. Smoke shoots him, but it has no effect. Even after getting shot, he gets up as Annie takes Smoke inside and closes the door. Suddenly, someone starts to bang the door behind them, and it turns out to be Stack. He demands they free him, but Annie says he is already dead. What is inside is not his brother. But Smoke, hearing his pleading, decides to free him and goes to take the key. As Sammy goes near the door, Stack just breaks it open and gets out. Annie throws garlic pickle at him, which burns him. He immediately runs away from there. Grace wants to leave as her husband is outside, but Annie stops her. She says they are encountering a vampire, so they need to be prepared. The vampire can be killed with a stake, wood, and garlic, so they start to prepare their weapons. Smoke asks if they can bring them back, but Annie says they're already dead, but their soul is locked up in their own body. The best they can do for them is to free their souls. She makes him promise that if he gets bitten, he needs to kill her before she turns. Suddenly, they find a man bleeding but don't know what caused it, so they decide to throw him outside. They see that all of the guests have now turned into vampires, and they're all dancing and singing together. They decide to eat garlic to check if any of them is a vampire. But Pearline creates a fuss, so Smoke points a gun toward her, even hitting Sammy, who tries to stop him. She eats it, but nothing happens. Slim eats and starts to cough as Smoke points a gun at him, but he says he just drank too much and became normal again. They now wonder if that man was dead and find out he was drunk and it was beer and not blood. The man wakes up and bangs on the door. As they're about to let him in, Cornbread attacks him. Bo comes there unhinged and asks Grace to go home with her, but he is cold as he does not care about what's happening around everywhere. Annie tells her not to listen to him. Smoke says they will find a way out of this. Just then, Remick comes and says they're their way out. He tells Grace to listen to her husband, where they will pay a visit to their daughter. He then reveals that he wants Sammy as his music can bring the soul back to Earth, and he can help them bring the devil back for them. When Smoke declines, he says that he can save them as their whole juke joint is built on lies. He says that Hogwood is a clan leader. The white couple happens to be his relatives, and Hogwood is planning to come back in the morning with his gang members and kill all of them. Stack comes and says this is the only way they can live together, but they shut the door. Grace is becoming restless, worrying about her daughter, but Annie says they need to wait until the morning. But she says they can't let the monster roam free and starts to make Molotov cocktails. Smoke tries to calm her down, but she screams and invites them to get inside. They get ready to fight as the vampire enters. Grace throws Molotov, but Remick just pushes it away. As the place starts to burn, the fight starts. Grace runs towards Bo, and they burn to death. They fight and can kill the vampires one by one, but Stack attacks Annie while Smoke is busy with Remick. Stack bites Annie, and Pearline shots Stack and Remick. Smoke goes to Annie and asks him to kill her as he promised. Heartbroken, he does so while Mary breaks down and Stack takes her away. Slim asks them to leave while he holds up the vampire. While trying to leave, they get attacked by Remick and Stack. Pearline helps Sammy by stabbing Remick, but he bites her. Sammy comes to her rescue, and Smoke shoots Remick away. They both ask him to leave. He jumps from there and starts to run, but Remick comes jumping towards him and throws him into the water. Inside, Slim dies is crushed by the vampire. The brothers are fighting with each other. Stack gets hold of his brother, but can't bite him because of the locket. Smoke overpowers him, but he is also unable to kill him out of love. Outside, Remick grabs Sammy, who starts to pray, but Remick starts to pray with him. The other vampires also join him. He tells Sammy that God is a lie and it has no effect on them. As Remick pushes Sammy, he smashes him with a guitar, and he starts to burn as the silver starts starts to burn him, and the rest of the vampires burn as well. But he pulls the broken part from his head and tells him they will make great music together and bring back the dead. He is about to kill him, but Smoke comes there and pierces his heart using a stake. As the sun starts to rise, the vampires start to burn. Slowly, Remick and the rest of the vampires withered away. Smoke asks Sammy to leave and throws the guitar away. After Sammy leaves, Smoke starts to recall the whole day. He throws his locket and takes out all his weapons. Hogwood comes with his clan mate to kill them in the morning. Smoke starts shooting and takes them all out, but he gets fatally shot as well in the process. He then sits beside Hogwood and asks for a smoke. He imagines Annie with their child sitting beside him. Hogwood offers him money, but he shoots him. Sammy also arrives at the church, and his father asks him to throw down the guitar. But he fails to do so and leaves for Chicago with the guitar. 60 years later, he is now an old man and a famous jazz artist. One day, Stack and Mary come to visit him at his bar. Stack reveals that Smoke let him go in exchange that he will leave Sammy alone. They offer him immortality, but he refuses. He then performs for them. They are leaving when he tells them. Until the massacre, it was the greatest day of his life. Stack agrees, saying that was the last day he was with his brother and the last time he felt the sun's warmth and was truly free. So this was the recap of the movie Sinners 2025. Check out our other video as well.